it's common knowledge that Roland Emmerich disaster movies are in and of themselves disaster movies. He had two hits back in the mid-90s with Stargate and Independence Day, which are good films, not masterpieces by any stretch of the imagination, but they're still fun movies. 1998's Godzilla is where the problem started to arise, because that movie was shit. And then he tried the same damn thing with other movies. Day After Tomorrow, 12,000 BC, 2012, Independence Day 2. So you can probably tell I was not looking forward to watching this in the slightest. I just thought it was just going to be another dumbass explosion fest. I was expecting another Transformers. And not the good kind of Transformers like Bumblebee. I'm talking the Michael Bay Transformers. The Bayformers, as some people call them. And don't get me wrong, I did get that. I didn't want that, but it was what I was expecting, and I did get it. But this movie almost broke me. Back in 2020, when I first started doing my reviews, there was an animated movie that hit Netflix called Animal Crackers. And literally, even the title of my video was Animal Crackers Broke My Sanity. Because it just made so little sense and was so batshit insane that my brain could not physically process it. That's kind of what happened at the end of this movie. And the funny thing is, up to that point, I was just bored. I was willing to just say this is just a boring disaster movie. Nobody, and I mean nobody, could have predicted how this movie ends. I mean, obviously it ends with them putting the moon back in its place and saving the Earth, duh, but I don't think anybody could have predicted a twist. I don't know what the writers were thinking when coming up with this twist. So, let's talk about Moonfall. Another fucking Roland Emmerich disaster movie starring Patrick Wilson, John Bradley, and Halle Berry. A bunch of other actors I don't know. And of course, if you've seen the trailers, you know that the moon is out of its orbit and is going to crash into Earth. And believe it or not, that's the simple part. So, Brian, played by Wilson, is a washed-up astronaut. Halle Berry, character, plays Jacinda, who's basically climbed the ranks of NASA. And the reason why Brian is a washed-up astronaut is because he saw some kind of nanotechnology during a space flight, and it ended up killing one of his friends who was up there with him, and they didn't believe what he saw. Actually, that's not true. They know what he saw, but they covered it up. Now, news stations are known for covering things up. CNN is basically now known as the fake news network, so. But this is fucking NASA. Why on earth would you cover this up? If this is a potential threat, you need to let the people know. And you need to take action. Don't just cover this up and expect it to go away. Though again, that's what our government's doing, and it hasn't worked. Actually, they're the ones causing the problems. Never mind. But but again, that's the simple stuff. So eventually, Brian, Jacinda, and Casey, played by John Bradley, who's essentially a conspiracy theorist, because God knows we haven't had enough of those in movies. We already got one in Godzilla vs. Kong, and that was dumb. And apparently all of his theories about the moon have been sort of right. he calls it like a mega construct or something like that, which he believed was, which basically means he believes the moon was created by aliens. Believe it or not, he's half right, but I'll get to that. They take off into space and try to find a way to shut down the nanotechnology with an EMP, which honestly isn't the worst plan. And apparently this nanotechnology senses humans whenever it's in an electronic environment, like when they're around electronics. Still doesn't make sense? Good, because I don't know how it would. So, I'm going to go deep into spoilers with this one. The movie's been out for weeks, so it shouldn't make a difference. And considering this movie is shaping up to be the biggest box office bomb of the year, I don't think anybody cares. This movie cost $140 million to make, and worldwide, it made about 31. Uncharted made more in its opening day, just to give you some perspective, than it's made in its entire run so far. So, this is the twist of Moonfall. Brian, Jacinda, and Casey wake up in this facility, sort of, I guess, this little base, I guess, where a blast door shields the nanotechnology from killing them. And Brian discovers, or is told rather, about the secret history of humanity. Believe it or not, you shouldn't believe it because there's no way this is actually real, but whatever. That doesn't matter to Roland Emmerich. Humans created the mega construct. And I guess they lived on it for centuries, I guess. But then left when the nanotechnology arrived, when they created nanotechnology and it turned evil, just like all artificial intelligence does. Furthermore, I need to bring up something that happened earlier in the film where Jacinda said where somebody is attacked by the nanotech, essentially. And one of the guys says, "What is that technology?" She was like, "What is he getting attacked by? Some sort of machine?" She's like, "Machines don't have that kind of intelligence. Machines don't have intelligence. Have you not heard of AI? Are you serious?" This is where the movie officially lost me, and this was only like a half hour in. Or like 25 minutes in. That's where the movie lost me, where she said machines don't have intelligence. What? I know what they're going for here is like, oh, AI is... Because technically AI does not currently exist unless you want to talk about something like Siri or something, or like a GPS, which is technically artificial intelligence. But that is such a wrong statement. But whatever, back to the bullshit humans living on a fake moon. And so they lived on the mega construct, and they abandoned it when the nanotechnology turned and basically tried to kill everybody. And they abandoned it and took refuge on Earth. So essentially their ancestors were the ones who created the moon. And the moon, the actual moon, is what protects Earth from the nanotechnology. Because it means that, I guess it's supposed to be like a symbol, I guess, that people are still able to live in this kind of environment. It makes no sense. I know I sound like a fucking crazy person, but that's actually what happens. And the most predictable fucking climax ever is where Ryan says he needs to stay behind with the EMP, and Justin like, "No, you need to go, I'll do it." I know exactly what was going to happen. It was going to be KC. He's going to stay behind and set up the EMP, and that's exactly what happens. But then it got even worse in the very last scene. KC rematerializes in the exact same place where Brian discovered the secret history of humanity, and talks with this construct, I guess I don't remember what they called themselves, where Brian saw this thing as his son, like, it was in the form of his son. KC sees his mother, and his cat, Fuzz Aldrin. That's not funny at all. Furthermore, this movie isn't funny. It has a couple of okay lines, but it's not funny. And the machine, I guess, that's the only thing I can really call it, says the work is not yet, the work has only, now your work has only begun. He says, and what work is that? Are they seriously setting up a sequel? Do not tell me they are setting up a sequel. You know what? I don't even care if they are. There's no way this is getting a sequel. Worldwide, this movie couldn't even make a fourth of its budget back. Because a fourth of its budget would be around $35 million. Couldn't even make that worldwide. Which is good. This does not deserve box office credit. This does not deserve money. The writing's incompetent. The direction is boring. The effects look good for the most part, but there are times where it just looks awful, which should not be possible in a $140 million picture. The only two actors who are trying are Patrick Wilson and Michael Pena, who's fucking wasted in this movie, might I add. His son, Sonny, is okay. There's one chick named Michelle who has no purpose in the story and is not a very good actress either. Halle Berry's putting forth the minimum amount of effort. John Bradley he's the stereotypical nerdy white guy with glasses that you see in every Roland Emmerich film. Stargate, Independence Day. Stargate had, I don't remember what it was, and then Independence Day had Jeff Goldblum, and then Godzilla had Matthew Broderick, and I'm done with this movie. Moonfall gets an F. We were expecting anything else. Thank you all so much for watching. Did any of you see this? And if so, why? So, yeah, that's all I got for Moonfall, and I need to go recover from this shit show.